Now, this is one big mistake that is stopping people from viewing your channel. Okay, I'm going to go straight to the point. There is no need to waste time on this place. Okay, now the thing is, everybody is almost a content creator on YouTube. So there are millions of channels on YouTube. Now, there is just one thing that would make somebody to click on your video. But you know what? That thing is what you're actually not doing on YouTube. Now, let's assume you go on your phone, you go on your YouTube homepage, and you start to scroll on YouTube. You're going to be seeing a number of thumbnails, a number of titles, a number of thumbnails, a number of titles. But there is just one thing that is going to hold you, that's going to hook you and make you to pause on a particular thumbnail or a particular title and then click on that video and watch. Now, what is that thing? I know you can already tell: your thumbnail and your title. There is a lot of content creators who are making huge mistakes when it comes to their thumbnails and their titles. See, whether you have very good information on your channel, you've done a lot of things. One thing, you've done a lot of good editing on your channel. One thing you don't want to make mistake with is your thumbnail and your title. I'm going to explain to you some things that you want to ensure you are putting into your thumbnails and your title. Now, one thing I want to just get out of the way is this: something that can actually help you is this: whenever you're creating your videos, you are testing out different thumbnails. The moment you are able to find a particular video that a lot of people clicked on and watched, look at that particular thumbnail and ensure you start replicating that particular thumbnail. Now, the reason is this: I have noticed that on my channel, anytime I use a particular thumbnail and it starts to get views, I replicate those thumbnails and they start to get views. The moment I see a particular thumbnail on YouTube and I feel like, oh, this particular thumbnail actually did well for this particular person, let me replicate it on my own channel. The moment I decide to replicate that thumbnail on my channel, most times my views drop. Now, what's the reason? It is very simple. People already saw that particular thumbnail. A lot of them clicked on it. Just know that this thing is psychological. That thumbnail already has been registered in their brains. So the moment, because they watched that video and they loved it and they got subscribed to your channel, or they gave that video a thumbs up, they engaged on that video, because they loved that particular video, the moment you bring up another video with that same kind of thumbnail, of course you're not going to put the same words or some things, you're going to change some things, your expressions and all of that. But because you are still replicating the exact kind of thumbnail, immediately anybody sees it, they will remember that, oh my goodness, I watched a video from this person and it was very valuable, I loved it. They're going to click on it again. There is every tendency that they are going to click on that video again and watch that video. So you want to ensure that you keep replicating your thumbnails, especially once you notice that this particular video already got a lot of clicks on it because that thumbnail did something to them. So you want to keep bringing them back. Now, another thing is, because you want someone who is just randomly scrolling to stop and watch, one thing you need to know is, number one, your expression matters. You don't want to just come on YouTube and maybe you want to say, oh, I made $1,000 on YouTube, and you're like, you get, of course, if you want to say I made $1,000 on YouTube, of course you want to have this excited expression. Do you understand? On your thumbnail. Or you want to also have, aside the expression, if you want to say something that's sad, that's not so, exciting, you put an expression that matches up with that energy. Do you understand? It helps emotions. It helps to spark the right emotions in people and would want them to just click and say, okay, let me see what this person has to offer. Right? But if your thumbnail, your title is not making people click, they're not going to watch. You're not going to get views. I've always said it that a book is judged by its cover. When it comes to YouTube, it's not like the random saying that a book should never be judged by its cover. On YouTube, a book is judged by its cover. So your book cover is your thumbnail. Okay, and your title also matters. Okay, so now another thing about your thumbnail is you want to put now I see a lot of people putting a lot of words on their thumbnails. Now, there are some particular thumbnails that might require you to put a lot of words, right? Maybe like 5 words. Okay, but you want to bring out about 3 or 4 words that will stand out. And how will you make them stand out? Now, number one, these 3 words, you want to ensure that they are invoking urgency, emotions, captivation, all of these things. So those 3 words that that would invoke this thing, you want to now give them that light. And how do you give them that light? This is by the colors that you decide to use. Now, you don't want to have your thumbnail backdrop maybe yellow and then your title is also yellow. there is no clear distinction between the colors. Okay, when you do it like that, people cannot easily read what you have on your channel, especially on your thumbnail, especially when you now have a lot of words. People will not be able to read, and ones that cannot hook them, they will scroll. But if you have maybe just three words, and those three words, they're eye catching, emotionally they are appealing. Do you understand? The color is striking. Everybody can easily read it. Trust me, if you try this is going to make a difference on your channel. I've taught some students, and I've noticed that this is part of the things that help them to get a lot of views, to improve on their channels the moment you start to work on your thumbnails. Do you understand? And of course, one thing is, when anybody looks at your thumbnail, the next thing is they actually look down at your title. You just ask yourself or observe with yourself, whenever you're scrolling on the YouTube homepage and you look at a particular thumbnail and that thumbnail strikes something in you, you definitely will just look down at the title. So that's exactly the kind of emotion you want to spark in any other random person who is scrolling through YouTube. So your thumbnail matters. Okay, ensure that you're using bright colors. Bright colors, we have red, we have white, we have yellow. Those are bright colors, and of course you want them to be in contrast with your backdrop, your thumbnail backdrop. Okay, that's why some people, you see that they use either plain backgrounds for their thumbnails, or even if their thumbnails do not have plain backgrounds, they blur excuse me, they blur the background of their thumbnail. So this is something you want to start putting into your videos. Do you understand? Okay, so that people will not just keep scrolling without even looking at your own side. That is it. If you've gained something from this video, please give me a loving thumbs up, and of course you're welcome to join this beautiful family. And do not forget, I take YouTube and video editing one-on-one coaching sessions. If it sounds like something you're interested in, you want to go over to my description box, click on the link to my seller store and book for any of these packages. And I'll see you on my next one. Bye bye.